So if you look at the global property data from Knight Frank for early 2026, it is telling a really fascinating story.
It really is.
For the last year or so, the market just felt paralyzed. Everyone was, waiting for interest rates to drop or elections to finish.
Right, just completely stuck.
But looking at this research from late 2025 through January, that paralysis, it's broken. The headline isn't just that prices are rising.
No, that's not the real story. It's that capital is actually moving again. That is the critical distinction.
Exactly. We aren't seeing some kind of runaway boom.
Oh, definitely not. Affordability is still biting hard across most major economies.
But we are seeing volume. The wait-and-see approach has officially expired.
And it's showing up in some very specific, I would say surprising places.
Okay, let's start there. The super prime data. We usually talk about New York, maybe London. But the January numbers, they highlight Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's striking, isn't it? LA has moved into third place globally for sales over $10 million. I mean, think about what that means. Despite all the headlines about taxes, the narrative about people leaving California,
Right.
the ultra-wealthy are doubling down there. It suggests that at the very top end of the market, where buyers are less reliant on mortgages,
Sure.
confidence has completely detached from the struggles of the mainstream housing market.
That detachment seems to be a theme. You see it in Europe, too. The report singles out Mallorca as a key hotspot for 2026.
It does.
That feels like a very specific pivot away from the usual, Paris or Berlin focus.
It's all about that globally mobile buyer. The data points to major infrastructure investment and, this is crucial, tax stability in the Balearics.
Okay, stability.
So when you have geopolitical volatility elsewhere, wealthy buyers aren't just looking for a vacation home, they're looking for a safe harbor that just happens to have a great lifestyle attached.
Which sort of connects to that note on LVMH, the luxury retail group. They're pivoting to go local in places like Seoul and Shanghai.
Exactly. It's a proxy for real estate. LVMH follows the money. If they're shifting strategy to build out local infrastructure instead of relying on tourist dollars,
It tells you that people are staying put.
it tells you high net worth individuals are settling in those hubs permanently. They aren't visiting, they're living.
Let's pivot to the UK, because the narrative there was incredibly gloomy in late 2025 around the budget.
It was very negative, yes.
But the January update uses this phrase, post-budget clarity. Is that just a polite way of saying everyone's just resigned to it now?
In a way, yeah. I mean, markets hate uncertainty more than they hate taxes.
Right.
Now that the rules of the game are set, prime London has spurred back into action. But the more interesting shift is actually in the country market.
Where prices were sliding.
They were, but that slide is narrowing significantly. And this is where the macroeconomics come in. We saw a mortgage price war kick off in December 2025.
Lenders were cutting rates.
Lenders were cutting rates, yeah. The fiscal outlook stabilized. That floor in mortgage rates gave buyers the confidence to step back in. It's not a boom, but the bleeding has stopped.
It's interesting you mention confidence. There's a link here with so-called passion assets. The data on fine wine, specifically Tuscany, showed a rebound in December.
It's a classic bellwether. When people feel wealthy, they buy vintage wine. When they feel worried, they liquidate it.
Okay.
The fact that the Tuscan index is showing resilience suggests that the wealth effect is coming back. People feel secure enough to park capital in assets that don't generate, immediate yield.
But we have to talk about the headwinds. We can't ignore the political landscape for 2026.
No, it's a huge factor.
The January report specifically flags Donald Trump taking aim at institutional investors in housing.
And this is a massive variable. If a U.S. administration moves to limit how many single-family homes large corporations can own, it changes the supply-demand dynamic overnight.
A huge change.
And it's not just the U.S. Across Europe, we're seeing a focus on red tape and regulation. The market is moving, yes, but it's moving through a minefield of policy risks.
Which creates a strange tension. You've got industry figures like Rob Perrins from Berkeley Group talking about planning reforms, looking forward, while at the same time, global politics is creating these huge structural risks.
That is the tension of 2026. The economic fundamentals, rates, inflation are stabilizing, but the political fundamentals are getting rockier.
So if we synthesize this for everyone listening, the fog has cleared on the economics, which is getting capital moving.
Right.
But a whole new fog is rolling in on the policy front.
That's a very fair assessment. The paralysis of waiting for the crash is over. Now it's about navigating the new rules.
So here's a thought to leave you with. if political pressure starts forcing these institutional giants of the BlackRocks of the world to step back from housing and capital is moving again, are we entering a rare window where the individual buyer actually regains some leverage over the corporate machine?
That is the space to watch this year.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive.